You guys, we got to change gears. We got Korey Rowe on the hotline. Korey? Korey?
Hi.
Korey?
Morning.
Hey.
Morning.
How are you, sir?
Good.
Good. How are you?
What's wrong there, Jimmy?
Nothing, just looking for a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Korey, you're involved with the 9/11 movie?
Yes, I am. I'm the executive producer for the second edition and was one of the co-producers for the first edition.
For the what, United 93?
No. This is for the September 11th movie, Loose Change Second Edition. It's a documentary about September 11th and the inconsistencies in the evidence which exists.
Right.
Okay.
All right, we got a little confused. I'm sorry.
The name we had scheduled was Dylan. Do we have a bio for this guy or no? Did they print anything? Only because it was Dylan was the one we thought was called.
Yeah,
Well,
Dylan.
we were going to get Dylan on this morning. Unfortunately, something came up. He wasn't available, so I just kind of had to jump into the position. I mean, if you're interested in a real quick bio.
No, it's okay, man. Unless you want to. I mean,
Yeah, this all started with Jimmy, so Jimmy should explain, I guess.
well, I've always, I'm not a believer in 9/11 conspiracy other than the fact that it was Muslims. But I hear so many people talking about it, and I think that there are times where a conspiracy is very valid and other times where it's just, and I'm going to quote Colin Quinn, people doing this synthetic rebellion where they attack the government because the government doesn't fight back. Like, you know, when you attack like this. That's what Colin's quote was, and I think he was right. So I'm like, does anybody out there have any credible evidence or video that something from 9/11 was a conspiracy by the government or other than Muslim?
That hasn't been disputed and shown to just be fabrication.
Yes, actually there is. And
No. Hold on, I'm just setting up this. I'm just setting up how this came to be.
Oh, okay.
So I asked for that, and I got a bunch of links. A lot of the nonsense people saying, well, Bush's reaction and that nonsense about did he see the video first, that's just nitpicking, and it's just, maybe he didn't handle it well, but that's nothing to do with a conspiracy.
Absolutely.
But then someone sent me the loose change thing, and I watched that, and a lot of it I didn't agree with, but there were certain points on it that I thought were raised that were interesting that I wasn't well-versed enough to debate. And I'm like, well, somebody who would have to know aeronautics and plane construction and all that stuff might be able to debate better. So that's how this came to be.
Absolutely.
So what is it about, what do you think is going on with this thing, 9/11?
I'm sorry, you're fading out.
I'm sorry, buddy. What do you think is going on with 9/11, and what do you think the government's behind it?
Not only is the government behind it and complicit with the attacks, they were directly responsible for them happening. I mean, if you look at the activities that were going on September 11th, and you look at the war games that were taking on with NORAD that morning, I mean, this is NORAD having 20 hijacked jets on the screen of the FFAA controllers. I mean, that alone just says that those people right there are looking at their radar, and they're not seeing 2 blips, 3 blips. They're looking at 20 hijacked jets on that screen, and they're running war games of a plane flying into the World Trade Center in both towers at the same time that it supposedly happens. I mean, if
now,
you
wait, this is something I've never heard of.
Right.
Now, where does this information come from?
you can go onto our website right now.
No, I believe I could go on to my website and it will say that didn't happen.
No.
Make a
You're
website.
misunderstanding what I'm saying. Go onto our website and you go to the evidence section and you can move down to the first thing on Operation on NORAD.
Operation NORAD.
It'll bring you directly to the article where we got our information.
And where did NORAD's war game information come from?
The internet. It was released.
It was released by who? Who from NORAD?
Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, who was
Cynthia McKinney. Yeah, that's a great fucking example of a person to bring up.
Dude, unfortunately, she's not a really good one right now.
Yeah, right now.
Credibility-wise.
That woman is a kook.
She's kind of an ass.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be out there. I mean, in this kind of community, and for the things that she's trying to get accomplished, you're going to be labeled as a kook. I mean, look at Charlie Sheehan, who just came out and said, that the attacks of September 11th need to be reinvestigated. World Trade Center Building 7 was definitely brought down by controlled demolition.
Okay,
I mean, and he's being attacked left and right.
We heard about that, sir. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
We ran over this yesterday. A controlled explosion in World Trade Center 7. how long would it take to set explosives? I watched a lot of Discovery Channel. I love watching the demolition shows, and when they take down old buildings, what it takes to wire a building to come down like that in a controlled demolition. How do you take a working office building with people going in on a daily basis, working their job, and wire it with enough C4 to bring it down in a controlled explosion without anybody knowing you're carting in explosives, drilling holes in major beams, stretching wire under pressure to bring the building in? This is all things that it takes to do a controlled explosion. How do you do that with people working there every day?
Absolutely, it's a very valid question. There's a lot of different ways. I mean, you can have cabling upgrades, you can have workers, you can shut off security cameras.
I understand.
All things that happened prior to September 11th, and not only that, maybe I can refer you to the Manhattan Project. When they built the A-bomb, they had 137,000 people work on that A-bomb, and not one of them knew what they were doing.
They all lived in one spot. They couldn't leave the compound. There wasn't cell phones. There were no video cameras.
Internet.
There was no internet. Those people were pretty much prisoners.
There's nothing. I mean, to think that what happened on September 11th is what the government said is preposterous.
I just want to take one thing. I'm taking that controlled explosion of World Trade Center 7. I was in construction for many years. I spent a lot of time in a lot of ceilings, on a lot of ladders. When you bring in your tools, everyone knows what's going on.
I'm not going to say that it was easy.
It's not easy.
If you look at the collapse of that building, it is irrefutable.
Korey,
it's irrefutable.
It is not irrefutable.
Demolition, you can see the crest at the core of the building.
Korey, hold on. One thing at a time.
In 6 seconds,
you're going to be able to... Korey, you're going to be able to get your points out. Here's the problem with, what I find the problem with conspiracy guys is that it becomes an agenda-driven thing. Now, what Ant is saying is a valid point. It's not, you can't just brush over it and go, well, it must have been hard. What he is saying is a guy who's done construction.
Tell me.
Is a virtually, but you're going right back to, well, hey, if you believe the government, that's crazy. Okay, that's agenda driven. What he is saying is a tangible thing. Yes, how do you do that in working office buildings?
It's very simple, man. I mean, it's not a complicated thing.
It is so complicated.
There's something that they're not. I mean, it's not complicated to get people into a building that they're not supposed to be in.
Korey.
I mean, apparently, because they blew up the World Trade Center building in 1993. I mean, they blew up
a truck.
I mean, all these things happen with people getting into places that they shouldn't have been with large bombs.
My God, why are we giving this
What's to stop at this time?
We saw how that was done.
You're going fast. The whole thing about the plane hitting the Pentagon, could it have evaporated? I thought that was a good point until I saw footage of a test they did with an airplane hitting a nuclear reactor. Like they put a concrete to test what would happen if a plane hit a nuclear reactor.
Yeah.
Like, would that withstand a plane blast? And they used a military plane, granted smaller than a 767, 757. And it basically evaporated when it hit the concrete wall that didn't have any give. You guys showed some interesting footage of planes that hit a mountain doing 500 miles an hour, which I thought was very interesting. Mm-hmm. But there's give there because there's area for it to blow out. When it hits a brick wall or concrete like it did on this nuclear reactor, they showed camera angles. The plane evaporates. It really vaporizes as it hits it.
Nothing.
Excuse me?
Nothing.
You didn't hear any of that?
He's got nothing.
Korey.
Yes.
What about what I just asked you about the plane vaporizing, hitting the Pentagon?
Well, it's absolutely impossible. Titanium does not melt until 3,000 degrees, and jet fuel fires could have never caused that.
Okay, what about the footage I just described to you that I've seen?
How impact will vaporize an aircraft if it's going fast enough into a brick wall?
I'd love to see the footage. I mean, we have footage in the first edition where the plane goes directly into the wall, but then cuts through it. And the wings separate.
No, I'm talking about concrete. Let's. Can you send him a link right now? Mm-hmm. We can send you a link to this footage. It just. I'll repeat myself because you weren't listening. It was a smaller plane. It was a test they did on the nuclear to see if a nuclear reactor would withstand a plane hitting it. Small plane. It's military footage. The plane. And it's not done by September 11th. I think it's older footage. Smashes into this concrete that's been specially built, and it basically vaporizes. Because it has nowhere to go, there's no give, as opposed to a mountain where there's plenty of room for a plane. And
is this steel reinforced concrete?
I honestly don't know the type of concrete, but it was. I don't know. to be honest. Whatever it was, it's probably similar to what they protect the Pentagon with.
Can you give me the motivation behind the whole thing? What's the motivation behind a government conspiracy to do this?
Absolutely. The motivation is the ability to take over any nation that they'd like while taking away liberties and freedoms from American citizens by passing the Patriot Act. I mean, it literally eviscerates the Constitution.
That was the whole plan of action, like they're going to wire buildings for explosions, set up missiles, I guess, into the Pentagon?
Well, I mean, that's speculation. We never come out and say that it was a missile. We just reflect that the hole is only 16 feet large. So how does the entire fuselage, wings, tail section of a plane disappear into this hole?
Mm-hmm.
Michael,
and you're saying that all this was done, planned out, and carried out on that day just so the president could get the Patriot Act and take away some of our freedoms and invade Iraq?
Well, Iraq's not the only thing. I mean, they needed to go into Afghanistan first in order to build the oil pipeline. I mean, anybody that knows...
Oh, so it's oil.
Well, oil is definitely a big part of the motivation.
Oil's the motivation.
The Project for a New American Century, if you read their document, Rebuilding America's Defenses, where they call for a cataclysmic terrorist attack so that they can go into Eurasia, clearly outline how they want to take over Eurasia.
Now, is that the stuff you guys talk about from the 60s with Lem?
No, that's Operation Northwoods. The Rebuilding American Defenses is the PNAC document, the one where Cheney, Wolfowitz, Rumsfeld, Quayle, Crystal, they're all a member of this think tank, Jeb Bush, and they wrote this up before they were even in office.
Here's my question for you. This is a problem I have with what you're saying. When you look at JFK's assassination, it was done in 1963, and even that... And I do believe that was a conspiracy. I don't believe the whole government was involved. I think that's silly. I do think there was obviously more than one shooter. And even that was caught on video. Even that raised questions. And information was not passed around. With the way information is passed around today, and the magnitude, and I don't want to hear the bigger the lie, the more likely people are to believe it. You're talking about, I watched the video, landing planes, getting actors to fake the phone calls, because family members have heard these 911 calls where people say Arabs are taking over the plane.
Where did those people go? Where did those planes go?
All right, first off, we never claim that we know where the people are.
Oh, okay, you don't claim that.
But you claim that they're gone somewhere.
What about the calls?
What's that?
What about the calls that says that there are...
Have you watched the movie?
Yes. I haven't watched all of it. I probably watched, I'd say 45 to 50 minutes of it.
Okay, so then you didn't see the end where we deal with the cell phone calls.
No.
Basically, it's impossible to make a cell phone call from 32,000 feet. In fact, United Airlines this year just put hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment.
They weren't at 32,000 feet.
Yes, some of these calls were supposed to be at 32,000 feet. So when they were descending into the World Trade Center, they were pulling such high G-force maneuvers, it would have been absolutely impossible for anybody to even be standing.
Okay, so you're saying basically that the family members who are saying that was their relative on either A, the pilot, or B, the flight attendant are lying, or they're actors?
No, I'm not saying they're lying at all. We go over the voice morphing technology that's been around for years that could have easily used to fake their loved ones' voices.
So, dude, you understand how this sounds like? Well, the amount of people
my God.
it would take to do this.
Sir, they've only released one.
But isn't it more reasonable here, and isn't it possible, and much more reasonable, that Arab terrorists who hate us and our way of life for whatever reason decided to plan to crash planes into landmarks in this country and kill a lot of people? Doesn't that make sense to you at all?
Absolutely not. Well,
Absolutely. Wait.
Let me finish.
Okay. Absolutely not. Go ahead. Finish.
I'm not ignorant.
Go ahead.
I mean, obviously, I've studied these groups and seen whether it's plausible or not. There's definitely groups out there that hate us. They just don't have the means. Okay?
But it was I think more was proven that they did have the means and the ability, and they did do this, than any other concocted conspiracy.
They have a billionaire funding them, dude.
They have a billionaire terrorist funding them.
They
hate these people.
The Keene Commission, the head of the commission, saying it costs less than $500,000 to do.
Well, then there you go.
Don't make any difference.
So it's even cheaper. All I'm saying is, it is so much more reasonable to believe that they hate us. They want to crush our institutions, our landmarks, and kill our people. And through a lack of security, because we were, fat cats sitting here not really getting attacked on a huge scale, they found a way to get us. We were gotten by the enemy, not
Absolutely
from within.
Sir.
Absolutely impossible.
How does a 47-story skyscraper fall in on itself?
I've seen so many specials on how the steel structure melted, the weight of the cement.
Are you talking about World Trade Center Building 7? Because I've never seen an explanation for it.
World Trade Center 7?
The FEMA report.
You know something? I don't think there's ever been tests done where buildings and planes and shit are flying all over. I would like to believe that it fell down in the mess of 2 planes and 2 buildings.
And speaking of that, we got Kevin. He's a retired NYPD on the phone. He actually watched Tower 7 collapse. Kevin, you're on with Korey Rowe.
Yeah, how you doing? I'm a retired policeman. I was stood there as we watched it collapse. Does he know how it collapsed? I want to ask him that.
Well, I've heard some of the officials...
No, you're wrong.
How the fuel tank supposedly caught fire.
Number 2 fell into it and took out the bottom section of it. And it stood sideways for 3 hours before it collapsed. Stupid. So don't tell me that somebody blew it up, you idiot. I watched it. It burned for 3 hours before it collapsed.
Well, I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. I watched it, stupid. What do you mean I'm wrong? I was there.
Collapses before anything. You see the 2 strips of bombs go up, and it fell on top of itself. No steel building has ever done this before or
Korey,
after.
No steel building has ever done this. No 2 planes ever crashed into a building next door. I mean, there was damage to the building. The guy said he saw the bottom of the building taken out. It burned for 3 hours, and then it fell down.
We couldn't go in there for rescue because that building was tilted towards where the 2 buildings were. We had to stand there and wait for it to collapse before we could do anything. All right, stupid?
Yeah, well,
you know what? You can read anything you want. Charlie Sheen can tell you everything
had
you
an
want.
emergency bunker there, and he moved all his people there. Please tell me. I mean, I want to know. How come all these people were smart enough to get out of fires?
He hung up. Korey, here's the thing. This is what I'm talking about with not facing tangible things. This is a guy who is a retired cop, was there and said, look, I saw the bottom of the building because this other building, one of the towers fell into it. And you're going, no, that's impossible.
It is impossible, sir. I'm sorry, but it is totally impossible.
How can you say it's impossible?
Right up against...
What?
Right up against the World Trade Center that stood with light damage.
Okay, so you're saying that he's lying.
No, I'm not saying he's lying. I'm saying he's misinformed.
But he's one of many eyewitnesses, police officers, eyewitnesses that were there that saw this, and you are saying it's impossible that didn't happen.
Absolutely. I have NYPD members on interviews that I've done that were right outside World Trade Center 7. Less than a year ago, I talked to a guy who had to duck behind a van to save his own life, and he had major questions about it.
Sir, can I ask you this? Why would they blow that building up anyway? Why would they go through the trouble and risk of blowing that building up when it's really kind of a side thing when you take down the 2 World Trade Center towers with airplanes? World Trade Center 7, why go through the trouble and risk of finding explosives in there when... if it didn't fall down, this would still be just as tragic an event.
And I have a kind of a tag to that question. If you're going to go after like the towers to make whatever statement Bush wanted to make, according to you, or whoever wanted to make it, why not just rig the basement with bombs like you're saying they did, and then fake a truck bomb coming in? That's a much simpler, much more manageable operation. Fake a truck bomb taking out a bottom corner of each building. They collapse into each other, which is originally...
the 93 bombing plan. And if you know anything about the 93 bombing plan, that was an inside job, too. The New York Post reported that the FBI had hired an Egyptian army officer to infiltrate Muslims that hate us.
Wow.
It's absolutely true. I'm not the one reporting this. This is Washington
Post. I know. You just have you really have an anti-government agenda,
agenda-driven.
Which is fine. A lot of people do.
The official version, hook, line, and sinker in the beginning.
Dude,
it wasn't until before the Iraq War and I started to actually take a look at it that I realized that there was something very wrong with the official story.
Well, and I'm not saying that there aren't things in the official story I'd like to see explained, but what I'm talking about, this is what again, this is what tells me it's more of a rebellion against kind of like, mommy and daddy type of an attitude, is that when tangible evidence, this is what it is.
That's ridiculous, man. I love my parents. It has nothing to do with rebellion.
I'm kind of being symbolic.
It has to do with survival, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
And you just laughed at me when I was telling you the facts about the 93 World Trade Center bombing, when you can't tell me one person who was involved.
You're talking about, I don't know,
you said to me, me why didn't they use truck bombs in the basement to collapse them into
and you're
each
saying,
other.
and you're
that
quoting,
plan had failed.
dude, Korey,
they carried that plan out.
You're quoting the New York Post as your big thing.
No, not New York Post, sir. New York Times and Washington Post.
Oh, well, they don't have an agenda, the New York Times. They're not left-leaning. Hey, by the way, did you quote the New York Times? Was it a Jason Blair article that you're quoting? Or
Absolutely
was it...
not. Listen,
hold on, dude. Or was it...
on the payroll.
Or did you quote the New York Times?
On the payroll all the time. Jason Blair's just...
How about the New York Times article recently where they named the guy that was in that hood, and they had to come back the next day and go, oh, we don't know what we're talking about. Is that the New York Times article you're talking about?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. But I'm just saying the New York Times, don't quote them because they're a big name paper and go all of a sudden that makes it.
Who am I supposed to quote? We're just going through the mainstream media reports, the mainstream media video, the mainstream media photographs that contradict the official version. We're just asking the question.
Dude, you just had a cop who saw the building collapse and you're saying he's wrong.
He is wrong. I don't know what to tell you, but a 47-story skyscraper, no matter how long it burns,
of course you don't know what to tell me.
It's not going to collapse from the bottom up. It is scientifically impossible.
Unless a piece of a huge 100-story building hits it on the bottom, then perhaps it can fall from the bottom.
That thing was pulverized concrete. If you watch the video, we isolate the blast points going off 20, 30, and 60 floors below.
Pulverized concrete. Did you see the top part of it kind of lean over? And not pulverized until it hit the ground?
If it had just collapsed, it would have fallen onto the ground, onto the buildings next to it, but somehow it magically exploded upwards as the bottom exploded and went down. Although, you're exactly right. It was at a 90-degree angle.
That's because that's where the plane hit it. It wasn't a 90-degree angle. What happened?
Not at all.
At the crash point.
And then it just blows up from the impact point up.
Dude, at the crash point where the fire was, that's where the collapse started. There were many floors above it. So as it collapsed, the floors above it didn't collapse on themselves until it hit the ground and the building next to it.
That is absolutely a lie. The thing is leaning over. It should have fallen over. I've seen other buildings.
It shouldn't have fallen over. Don't you know physics?
Yeah, I do know the physics, actually.
The second... Wait.
Watch the whole movie.
The second the top of that building started tipping over, right? Mm-hmm. If the floors below it didn't start giving... it would have toppled over sideways. The second the floors below it start giving, it loses its pivot point and comes straight down.
And I suppose that it's just a coincidence that the firefighters got into the building that got hit second, got into the impact hole on the floor, radioed down to the guys that they could knock it down with 2 lines, and then 2 minutes later it was demolished.
What do you think? Did they hurt? Do you think that
absolutely they were monitoring the calls from the NYPD?
Oh, so you think that they were worried?
And they said, blow the World Trade Center. They're going to put this fire out.
When they got up there and they said, we're going to be able to put these fires out, you realize they're claiming that it was 3,000 degrees up there. There's no way a human being could have survived.
I think it's. I mean, look, dude. I understand. Look, I'm not saying you don't love your parents. You're 22, and I mean, I know it's not. It's a young age, and it's a time of rebellion.
It's got nothing to do with the time of rebellion, sir.
It does.
It's to do with the hardcore facts.
I do understand that the government's bad, man, and they do represent parental,
that's, again, ridiculous.
It's not.
What party are you guys?
No.
What's that, sweetie?
Are you a party? Are you affiliated with the Republican Party?
No. See, that's the problem. I'm
affiliated with being a human being that has some intellect.
I don't take one side on either issue.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Zero to me.
Listen, we got Paul from New York. Paul,
hold on, sweetie.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was a pilot with U.S. Airways. We were flying from Baltimore to LaGuardia, and we were over Staten Island when we saw the second airplane hit. And to see the fire and everything that came out of that building as we flew right past it on our way into LaGuardia, that building had to collapse on itself from the intense heat and jet fuel that was burning. There's no way that could have been a controlled demolition. From the fire and everything that was there, it came down on its own. There's just no way that could have happened. And to address the cell phone issue, as a pilot, I've had my cell phone left on in the airplane, and it will get a signal from 30,000 feet. I mean, that's crazy that could have all been fabricated. There's no way.
Yeah, you're talking about a conspiracy so huge, involving so many people, involving people that disappeared, planes that disappeared. Where'd they go?
And all the people. And I don't doubt. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't doubt that the government has scumbag elements in it at all. But the magnitude you're talking about...
beyond X-Files shit.
The biggest thing that's ever happened to our country, or at least in the last 60 years, that nobody would come forward and say, yes, I was a pilot who landed the plane, or I was involved with murdering the passengers, or I was one of the actors that did this, or I did that. Not one. You're only going...
First of all, never do we say anything about actors.
Well, who else? I'm saying, I'm assuming. Who else would do those calls?
You're assuming all this stuff, and you've done no research. Listen, for everybody out there that's listening, please go to video.google.com and watch Loose Change Second Edition for free and decide for yourself. Because 99% of the people that watch the movie agree with me afterwards.
Yet 99% of the people...
Absolutely. I do screenings all the time, man. And
I understand.
Coming in for.
Are they also looking at the other information? Do they look at both sides?
The other information. These people believe the official version, hook, line, and sinker before they come in.
Not many people are informed. Not many people... you know why? Let me tell you something. You people are very smart. You're able to wrap all this shit up in one package and feed it to people. In order to get what you call the official story, you have to go to a lot of different sources and do your own research and be educated and read books and maybe specials, Discovery Channel, the Learning Channel.
Where is the evidence that these 19 guys did it? Where is it?
Where's the evidence?
Yeah, please, name me one thing that proves these guys did it.
Name you one.
No, you guys are defending the official version to the end.
How about the evidence that they have of them going through the screening process at the airport? The two
videos that are very grainy.
How about I couldn't tell it was Mohammed Atta. How about the flight lesson? How about the flight lessons? How about the flight lessons they took where they didn't want to know how to take the planes off? They just needed to know how to fly them.
Two of them listed their home address as a Pensacola Navy station. It was reported by Newsweek.
Yeah, so they were. Our security sucked ass. I'll agree with you there. But the fact of the matter is, these animals trained how to fly jet planes, got on the planes. I took them over and crashed them.
And that's why they're not on any of the passengers list. They're not on any of the morgue lists.
Who said they're not on any passenger list? They found.
I've read the official passengers list.
Oh my God! You've read the faked fucking. I've seen them online passenger list.
FAA's report on it. See,
what do you want them on the memorial too?
I've done my research. You can't back up anything.
I can back up you know something?
Don't back it up. I mean, you can't tell me.
You're hysterical.
You can't tell me that they were on the list of passengers, and I'm telling you, I've read the documents. They are not.
You know what you're doing? If it was raining outside and I said, look, it's raining, you would say, back it up. It's fucking raining. It's obvious.
Man. You just said to me that the hijackers were on the list. They're not. I've read the documents. You haven't. And then you're still going to...
they had tickets. Whatever I'm saying is the fact is our security was awful back then as far as flying went. It allowed these animals to get on these planes and crash them. That's what happened.
Yes. All right, listen.
We got G-Force is?
Listen, Korey.
Yes.
We could go on forever. The phones have exploded. We do have some people, believe it or not, that agree with you. So we want
absolutely.
And by the way, humans will take more G-force than one of those fucking planes would take. So the plane would have ripped.
You can fly a plane like that.
The plane would have ripped apart
with the G-force. Do you know what manually you can fly the plane at?
Dude, at that low altitude, the plane was ready to rip apart at about 500 miles an hour. But if it's flying in a straight fucking line, what G-forces are you getting?
No, maximum they can do 1.5 Gs. They weren't flying in a straight line.
1.5 Gs? Wait a minute. What the fuck are you talking about?
Before the impacts of the Pentagon.
Dude, are you telling me a 767 can do 1.5 Gs maximum?
No, it can do 1.5 Gs maximum manually. It can do much more.
You're fucking insane.
No, absolutely not.
You're insane.
That's in the American Airlines pamphlet.
All right.
Listen. We got a lot of people that want in on this conversation. Let's get Steve from Yellowstone. Steve, what's going on today?
Hi. May I speak to Korey, please?
Yeah, Corey's on the line with you, Steve.
Korey, I can't hear you. Is this you?
Yes.
I think that the problem is a lot of people get very emotional about the issue, and it feels kind of like you're being ganged up on here because you're expressing an unpopular view. And I've never been a big supporter of the, like my website has like certain conspiracy things on it. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I think that you are being ganged up on. And I wanted to know why is it they're questioning your patriotism and your motives when you are just trying to report what happened.
Oh, very good.
Well, I don't think they're questioning my patriotism. I just think...
Mohammed Atta should fly a plane into Korey's mother's cunt. Ramon! Oswald was flying United Flight 93. Ramon! Ed Wood makes Korey... I fucked that one up! Ramon! Korey makes Ed Wood look like Orson Welles. Ramon! Ramon! Korey left the army because he got caught sucking cock like the Biloxi Blues! Ramon! Get this spoiled 22-year-old college boy faggot off the line!
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's just utterly ridiculous, guys.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, seriously. I'll sit here and go at it all day because you guys don't have any facts to back up anything.
I want to apologize for Steve from Yellowstone. My goodness.
Mississippi juice.
I want to apologize for Steve from Yellowstone. Obviously, we got past our screeners. My goodness.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are heartbroken over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Korey, good luck to you and your
good luck
movie.
to you guys. I really hope you open your eyes and figure out that you're not being.
My eyes are so wide open.
No, it's really true. I mean, I feel bad.
How close are you to catching Bigfoot, by the way?
Hey, you don't worry
Loch
about
Ness
it. We're gonna be fine. The truth.
Yeah, we're all just puppets, Korey.
Hold on.
You're the wise one. You know it all.
Hold on.
Obviously.
Hold on. All right. If you want to go, Korey, shut up. If you want to go serious, Fatso from Whackbag has a very good question. Fatso.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
Hey, guys,
being
how's it
fucking
going,
serious, douchebag.
Well, I'm
Fatso, go ahead.
Hey, Korey, you're a fucking kook, man. Listen, if the government was involved in a conspiracy of 9/11, and just so they could have an excuse to invade Iraq, why wouldn't they go through the trouble of going ahead and planning the so-called weapons of mass destruction that they were searching for, just so they don't look like fucking asses? You're fucking.
That's a good question. Why not do it on foreign soil? Why wouldn't that work? Why not bomb an embassy? Why not bomb something where
they have bombed embassies, man? You guys just don't know your history.
Oh, hold on. Wait, what? Don't tell me. The Marine barracks, Libya. Inside job?
I was going to say the coal was awfully suspicious because they blamed Bin Laden, and then they gave Bin Laden construction the bid to put it back together. So
why can't you accept the notion that there are people of the Muslim faith, Arabs, that hate us and our way of life and want us dead? Why can't...
Don't. Listen, there are low-level Muslims all over that hate our way of life.
Low level? What? No. What about high level that have the potential?
Osama bin Laden, why is it Le Figaro, the biggest paper in France, and then CBS both reported the guy was getting kidney dialysis on a U.S. base in Dubai? I'm not the one saying that. If this guy's so dangerous, why is he getting kidney dialysis from our armed forces?
Yeah, we heard about the kidney dialysis story. Another piece of crap. It's not fact.
Why are the media reporting it once or twice and never refuting it? Please tell me.
The media reports a lot of shit. The media is awful. They're sensationalist, knee-jerk idiots that are trying to top one another. So if they get a report from Al Jazeera, they'll report it as news.
Yeah.
Actually, that was reported by the people that worked in the hospital.
But when you sort out the fact from fiction, it comes down to guys that couldn't stand our way of life, who want us dead and want our landmarks.
You've done no research.
Yes, I have. I know how the World Trade Center came down. You don't.
Sir, I'm asking, what makes you think... You told me a couple of blurry videos, and that was it. And then you said that they were on the passengers list, and they're not.
I said they got tickets on the plane because they were on the fucking plane.
Actually, that's way under debate because they're not listed on any of the flights. I'm not the one not listing them.
I have more proof that they were on the plane than you have that they don't, sir.
You have no proof.
I have proof. I saw Mohammed Atta at a gate.
Listen.
These people took flight lessons. The same fucking people. I have more proof than you do that they weren't on the plane.
All right, listen, we're running out of show, and hold on, Korey. We're running out of show, and you got everyone reacting. We got another person that wants in on this conversation.
All right.
Let's say hi to Poe in New Jersey.
Poe in Jersey. Poe,
you're the last call. We got to move on here.
Gentlemen.
Hey, Poe.
All right.
I wanted to know, the problem I had with the official story was that I don't know if I believe in a controlled demolition, but I do know that there were no marks on the front of the Pentagon lawn, and I found that to be disturbing because how does the official government story explain the fact that there are no marks on the Pentagon lawn with allegedly a plane coming in? That's the problem I have with the government story.
All right, we got anything on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, originally
Ramon! Ben snorts coke in front of the Pentagon! Ramon! Bin Laden has the same disease as Mabel King! Bin Laden! Korey is a
girl's name? Ramon. Master Paul wants free food on American Airlines flights. Ramon. Bigfoot was flying the planes. Ramon. The passengers are hiding with the Jews who faked the Holocaust. I mean, Holocaust when I put a C there, because I hate Korey, and I hope he dies of AIDS.
Jesus.
Wow.
Well, once again, our screener's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Anyway, like I just
I've got to apologize.
This thing slid in.
All right, Korey. Korey.
Are you going to let me answer the question? The guy asked it.
No, I wouldn't even let you try to work that question out, because that guy that was calling was an idiot.
How about,
Korey,
shut up for a second. We've been having a lot of fun with you, obviously, but we still got some facts out there. So we'll give you the final word like Bill O'Reilly does. To sum up, what would you like to say?
I'd like to say that everybody listening out there that thinks I'm a jerk-off or a jackass.
That he is.
I can't believe how many flubs Steve had.
Yeah, Steve can't talk anymore.
Steve just couldn't wait to hammer him.
All right, listen.
Oh, my God. The thought that you, for a split second, even entertained anything on that video, I want to smack that goddamn Breathe Right strip off your nose.
As the rule is, when you watch it, you'll see there were a couple of valid points raised. But what happens is guys like that always sink their own fucking ship because they're agenda-driven and dishonest.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem.
Vaughn, girl, Arkansas, you're on the radio with us.
Hi.
Hi, guys. I just want you to know that I'm so thrilled you are home from vacation.
Ooh. Well, we're not. I was having a grand old time.
But I live and breathe y'all's show. I get up at 5 a.m. to listen to it here Central Time. You keep me laughing. You keep me smiling. I listen to you morning, afternoon, and evening. And this is out there for Korey, that dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
His stupidity was painful. That guy would be screaming for his precious little mommy.
Very good.
Here's what he is. He's just a child who wants to mean something. He's just a little fella who realizes that his opinion isn't very valid and no one really cares about him, and now he's going to be the guy that leads the charge.
He wants to be important and make a mark in this world.
I want to make a mark.
I uncovered something. Look at what I found.
It's because of you, Korey. We know because of you.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Woodward, Bernstein, and Korey.
What a douche.
Gonna uncover it.
All right, Vaughn.
He's just a complete...
I said, all right, Vaughn.
The epitome.
When you had the really one good point, we said if pain was the fact that you kind of like said if stupidity was pain, then you had to come up with a pain one, and he'd be screaming in more agony.
Right.
That example was awful.
He needs to get off his mommy's tit and grow the fuck up.
If good examples were pain, I would shove the phone up your cunt.
Hey, we
leave her alone.
Leave her alone.
Leave her alone.
Sorry.
She's a fan.
We're starting to get actual female listeners.
Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you for calling, and don't listen to Lil John Norden as they're plugging him.
I love Jimmy Norton.
I love you too, Vaughn.
Then I hope he does kick in the cunt.
I love your supermarkets in L.A. too. Thanks a lot, Vaun.
It's
Thank you, guys.
Oh, look at that. A nice L.A. reference.
That's right.
L.A.
I might have to go next week and film something.
Yeah, that's... Hey, Brooklyn Ace from Pal Talk.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Sugar Bear.
This guy was such a fucking idiot. I would have loved to have asked him what the fuck happened to my uncle who died in the Trade Center. Oh, it didn't happen. It was a controlled explosion. Fuck you scumbag.
They're all walking around somewhere.
I like the fact that the cop called and was just going, look, stupid. I was there, stupid.
Stupid. I was there, stupid. I saw it, stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah, the guy, here's what they do. We talked about this a little on break. They, all the burden of proof is put on the people that already have proven what happened. So he'll like ask you, the douchebag will say like, oh, well, give me proof that happened. There is proof. The proof is the planes went into the building. They never have the proof. He always asks you, oh, I've done my research. Oh, have you? Really? You know how the building came down?
You know what it is? He's 22.
Yeah.
He just wants
to... He didn't do any fucking research. Anthony, you had him.
Dude, he just...
Dead to rights, and he's being a fucking douchebag about it.
Dude, he wants to show everyone. I'll show you.
Show ya.
I'll show you, guys.
I'll show you.
I'll show you. I'm the voice of a generation.
Then who did it?
Hoo.
All right, thank you, bro.
The only thing he showed was that he was a douchebag. Have a good day, guys.
All right, Brooklyn Ace.
Ass. I can't believe there are still people like that think like that out there.
Ed in Connecticut. Ed.
Hey, how you going? How you doing? Hey, Sugar
Right.
Tits.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, listen, real quick. I heard Anthony mention this morning in passing that him and Jimmy were arguing this morning about 9/11.
We weren't arguing this morning.
No, we were pretty much
they were
just
having a discussion.
talking, discussing.
Yeah, and the other night I was listening, or last night I was listening to the replay, and Jimmy mentioned that he agreed with some of the shit that Crackpot was saying.
No, dude. Well, what I said was some of it made sense, and I didn't have enough technical expertise to refute it.
Okay.
And I knew that dude, hold on. I figured there was a rational explanation for it, but I'm not going to pretend I know the answers. Ant's much better at stuff like that. Like there were certain things in the towers that fell, like these little lights going off, and I'm like, all right, well, what is that? And he made a great point about how it's air being compressed from the pressure. Okay, I wouldn't have thought of that. So not what I said.
Shooting out of ducts that run up the side of the building, shooting out windows, weak points, and it's like a piston moving down a cylinder. It's not just going to come out of the top. It's going to come out of any weak point down the cylinder, and that's what those little puffs were. I did a lot of research last. I don't just go home after an argument like on the air yesterday. I did research. I sat down and read the government's 9/11 report that came out. I read through. First of all, let me tell you something.
How many pages was that?
It's like 519 pages.
I watched this.
And then footnotes.
I watched the second half of the heavy metal movie.
Did you watch that?
And I thought I was doing some heavy lifting.
Let me recommend.
I jerked off in Pal Talk.
I mean, what the?
Let me recommend the 9/11 Commission's report. Right. It is great reading. Even if you just read the first chapter, it shows the whole setup, and it really, the evidence there, the paper trail that they left is overwhelming. The logic in how this was carried out and handled by these terrorists, by the upper echelon, the financing, where it came from, the testimony of security cameras, the people at the airport, the FAA, air traffic controllers, crew members that called, family members that listened to the call. There's so much shit. Evidence that is completely contrary to what that guy was saying yesterday.
Yeah, of course.
Nothing found at the Pentagon. There are photos of a fireman standing next to a hole in the Pentagon that is called this small hole. How did the nose make this? It's a blowout hole the fireman made for access. Right. Nothing to do with the plane. Laying next to it is a landing gear hub. They compare it. It's a perfect picture of it, too. With the landing gear hub of a 757, it matches perfectly with that. Obviously, a 757 hit.
Yeah, I just want to make sure Jimmy wasn't buying any of that bullshit.
No.
I'm not
Jimmy's a smart guy. We just needed more information to refute the bullshit artists.
Yeah, when you have somebody like when you watch the documentary and they're raising certain points of physics and stuff, even though it sounds good and maybe bullshit, I just didn't have the expertise to refute it because I could have refuted it going, look, you're a crackpot in a jizz bucket and you're walking around. The guy walks around, this guy Korey Rowe. I think there's a picture of him wearing a shirt that said 9/11 investigation.
Yeah, man.
Like, oh, wait, whatever happened to Korey? Haven't you heard?
Haven't you heard?
Don't you know what he's been doing? All right, Ed. You mean that Korey that I thought would never be? Yeah, he's the guy that solved it.
You're reading the report from 1996 until the actual event on 9/11. It would make, that's what they should make a movie of. And then, stop it right at the attacks.
They did
Did they?
Yeah.
From 96 on, because that is some fascinating shit, the way it was coordinated between these animals, how they actually gained entry to flight lessons, how horrible a lot of them were at flying, how the flight instructors were suspicious, how we came so close, just a couple of, you're reading it, knowing how it ends, which pisses you off, and it's just like, God, if this guy just would have spoke up more, or if these two would have hooked up and traded info, or if this agent could have traded information with another agency, like something might have crumbled in the plan, but it all just went. Do you know, 9 out of the 10 American airline hijackers were picked out of the security line before they boarded by a computer program that picks up threats to civil aviation. But all that happened when this program was tripped is that your luggage, your checked luggage, was kept off the plane until they made sure you were on the plane. So you couldn't load a bomb in, get off the plane. They wanted to make sure you were on. But 9 of the hijackers, 10 of which were on American Airlines, were screened, were pulled off and pulled aside and kept off until they made sure that their bags were kept off until they made sure they were on.
And a couple of them were stopped at security checkpoints.
Stopped at security. Mohammed Atta went to Maine to take the flight back and was pissed off because they made him go through security again. Usually when you get a transfer flight, you don't go through security again. You just go to your flight, your connecting flight. They made him go through security again. He was pissed off at it. And, boom, in this day and age, you're pulled aside, things happen. Security was so lax and, there were so many things. You read through this, it's really fascinating reading.
And that's why you have to love the fact that when they were profiling here, and again, there's a way to do it, but you're taught in this stupid, politically correct mentality, hey, everyone, really? We know who's doing these things, and when you want to pull them aside and talk to them, you have to justify it and pull aside a fat white lady, too, and a grandmother, just so nobody's feelings get hurt.
Another terrorist that day didn't have a photograph, didn't have photo ID, and couldn't speak English. And one of the security people pulled him aside, talked with him, got some guy that could understand him a little bit, and, all right, you're free to get on the fucking plane. You think that would happen now?
How many of these pages did you read?
A couple of hundred.
Was it a page turner like the Warren Report?
It really was a page turner. It was very good, and even the footnotes. Some of the footnotes were very interesting little things, and just information that it's a collection, and it's not this partisan crap. It's a collection of all the evidence, the physical evidence, the hardware, the testimony. From so many different people and agencies and everything that they pawed through. And the thing is, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Not like this fucking guy with a plane that landed and then another plane, Flight 93, landed behind it.
Oh, God.
And 15 minutes later, they all got out and went into a NASA building where 200 people, he don't know where they went, but they're somewhere. Get the fuck out of here.
See, this is what sucks about most conspiracy people, is you have no ability to critique when you're wrong.
Nope.
Like, one of the things that bothered me about the Pentagon hit was, or the Trade Center I understood, but the Pentagon, why is there was hardly any plane. It's like, how does a plane vaporize? And he actually did something cool. He showed a piece of a mountain, like a plane that hit a mountain doing 500 miles an hour, and he goes, this is what you'd probably find. You'd find this and that. All right, where was that? And then someone else sent me footage, one of the listeners, again, always coming through, a fucking plane. They did a test on nuclear reactors of this plane that flew. Did you see that video?
Yeah.
The plane vaporized when it hit the thing. So that explains to me, that can happen if it hits a concrete wall with no give. You can vaporize a plane.
And here's some of the things that they left out, that these conspiracy guys leave out at the Pentagon. There were wing marks so low on the building. This guy, it was a 1 in a million shot that he flew this plane into the Pentagon. Barely nicked the ground right before he hit. So the wing level was very low, and you could see it. You could see where the wings actually hit the Pentagon. They take a picture where the firemen have sprayed foam because that whole line was on fire. They spray foam, so now you can't see where the wings hit. And they say, where are the wing marks? Well, they're under the fucking foam. They also show this fenced-in area where there was a generator, and you can see exactly where the engine knocked two of these poles down and ripped through the fence. They have it, like, if you just go to a few sites, you can see the exact path that all these planes took. But, well, we're all idiots.
Let's go to Matt in Jersey. Matt, what's up?
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good, Matt.
Hey, man.
Listen, I just wanted to say, I'm not with that kook from yesterday, all right? I know that 2 planes flew in. We all saw it. The entire world saw it. The thing is, though, he did mention a stupid website that actually, if you see it, it does kind of make sense, even though it's been disproven by the government. But the one thing that got me was Flight 93 going in Pennsylvania, and the one that went into the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And the website that he did mention, it actually did go into detail. And
Eatabullet.com, I know, yeah.
Yeah, it does make kind of sense. If you really look at it.
What makes sense?
Well, with the way the plane flew in the Pentagon, it shows that the light posts. There's light posts that were around it, and there was actual film from the Marriott building from across the street, and there was like video from, I believe, a few gas stations. The government, the FBI, came in and took and seized the film.
Yeah, we know that. And the light posts were sheared off when the plane hit it. Yeah. So.
But it was pointing in a different direction as opposed to where the plane was going in.
Well, dude, my question is this, and this is something I don't like the fact that they confiscated that film. I mean, I understand the security, the security was breached, and as American citizens, they should show it. But you really think that if they were plotting it and making it up, that they would shear them in the wrong way? Like, if they could pull this off, they would shear them in the correct direction.
When a plane hits a light pole, I don't know if you can calculate which way it's going to fucking land, to tell you the truth.
No, but I mean, it was all going in one direction. I mean, because the jet blast would obviously bring it back a different direction, but it was in a total different direction.
You know, there's a very heavy generator that was pushed by one of the engines toward the building. Mm-hmm. Like, there are so many things that refute a light post that spins around like a pixie stick on the ground when it's getting hit. It doesn't. That's not evidence that tells me that a plane didn't hit the building.
Right.
Because a light post is facing a weird way or in a strange place.
But this website's not. This website is also saying that it wasn't a passenger plane; that it was one of those, like a cruise missile.
No, it was. Then where did the 757 landing gear come from? Where did the engine? That's another thing. This turbofan from the engine,
exactly.
titanium.
It didn't. Right, exactly.
You know something? It's a blatant lie. I looked at a blueprint of a 757 engine.
Jesus. And the thing is, he actually had one at home. He didn't have to go find it.
That piece from the turbine matches perfectly to a 757 engine.
Wow.
A fucking Rolls-Royce engine. It matches perfectly.
Also, do you think that it honestly vaporized on the ground?
Hold on a minute.
Hold on a minute. You know what?
Let me just look at Anthony and be nauseous.
Sometimes you gotta really listen. Do you understand what Anthony just did last night?
I was incensed.
I looked at the Insider. The Katie Holmes countdown continues. I
was pissed off.
I watched Kara from MySpace and almost got a tit shot when she was cleaning something off the desk.
Guys, love you punching out.
And Anthony is unrolling blueprints.
I had to compare.
Jesus Christ.
Reminds you of the good old days, doesn't it? When the Desert Fox was looking for you. Just unrolling them with all your generals.
Oh, my God.
Look,
you are
someone has to do it.
You're literally one of the only people I know in this world that can make me feel really, really stupid.
I had to. I was
You actually
so
looked
angered.
at blueprints?
They're readily available. They are readily available. That's why I said, look, I don't want to go on a tear here for hours on end, but that's what I said yesterday. This was probably one point that I made. I listened to the replay and was pissed off all over again. I made a point to this guy, and this is something I think a lot of people have to understand in order to think for yourself. Both sides like to wrap things in packages they can shove down your throat. That's what this guy has. He's got a collection. He made his little flash movie. It's great. I bet he used his new little programs to put all his little clips together with his horrid voiceover that he does on that. You think you've seen enough? Check it out. Ugh. Shut up, if I may borrow from Jimmy. Ugh.
That was a different guy I think he had.
Oh.
The guy we were supposed to get was the narrator.
Yeah.
But then they brought in the big guns.
Yes.
9/11
Korey.
investigation. Hold on. Baba! I bet you he actually has like a piano soundtrack follow him whenever he walks in. Baba! My God, it's the kid with the guts.
Taking on the government.
My God, man.
Young go-getter.
There he is. Don't tangle with Korey.
And they like to wrap things up and shove it down your throat because it's so easily packaged that if you watch the whole thing and know nothing else about the situation, you would sit there and go, wow, hey, check that out. Whoa, look, the engine doesn't match. Hey, look, there was no evidence of a plane here. Hey, there's flashes that look like multiple explosions bringing the building down. But, all right, you don't have to go punching up blueprints to certain aircraft. But there are other ways and means of informing yourself that refute these things and you know, read the 9/11 Commission report, at least pieces of it. Look online for other pictures from the Pentagon. Look at all the pictures that you can find of the Pentagon.
Can I get the Cliff Notes?
No, you kind of got to
Dwayne
find
Reed?
it yourself. Dwayne Reed, you want the Cliff Notes?
I want the Cliff Notes, please.
Or how about this? Don't read any blueprints. Just hang out with someone who would. There you go.
There you go.
Just hang out with a smart friend.
I got a smart friend.
What would Korey say when he walks into the room about something like that?
The blueprints were manufactured by the government, man. Hey, get me my shirt. What does it say on it? 9/11 investigation. And he can't talk till the music stops, so he has to stare longer than is comfortable.
Shit. All right, well.
Stupid. That cop yesterday was great. No, it didn't. Stupid.
No, it didn't.
I was there. Stupid.
He asks him, too. The cop was so pissed. He just goes, oh, well, how did the building come down? Well, no, it didn't, stupid.
Well, here's a guy that was there, and the guy sounded to me legit like a legit retired detective. Just the way he was talking, you knew. Or a retired cop. The bottom of the building was damaged. Obviously, from falling. Okay, and he saw it, and he's saying, I saw it, and this young dummy is going, no, that's not it, you're mistaken.
Yeah.
Because what, you read it or you talked it? Shut up.
The guy wasn't there, and then you realize, this motherfucker was 18 when it happened? Yeah, you little shit. He probably got called out of school when it happened. We saw it, Buster. Don't tell me with your shirt. What does his shirt say?
9/11 investigation.
Let's go to Craig in Texas. Hey, Craig.
Hey, fellas. Good morning.
Good morning.
My father-in-law works at the Pentagon, has worked at the Pentagon about 12 years now. And we had to sit down and talk about it. I've been to the Pentagon. I've seen the little memorial they have.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going to tell me a lie. I mean, he luckily he wasn't in his office. He was in a meeting. If he was in his office, he would have been dead.
Yeah.
So I can't really say much about the World Trade Center, but I can talk about the Pentagon a little bit. And it happened.
It just happened. That's the way it happened. And then he talks about, what did he say yesterday, that the G-forces of the plane, he made at 500 miles an hour, he made a over 300-degree turn to turn into the Pentagon. You read the report, idiot. From the FAA and from air traffic controllers. He made the turn and then goosed it and flew in straight at over 500 miles an hour. From 5 miles away. He was 5 miles away when he made that turn at a speed that could handle the turn. And then he goosed it full speed over 500 miles an hour into the building, which would pulverize the plane. The guy didn't... And they like to pulled out of his ass, oh, so at 500 miles an hour, you're going to make a 330-degree turn? No, it's not how it happened. He just mixes shit up, pulls it out of his asshole.
And a valid point is, look, there's voice recordings. Families recognize the voice recordings. You ever hear the flight attendant voice?
Dude, voice morphing. There's a program that you just need 10 minutes, maybe, of audio from anybody. And you can type it in. And the guy's voice will come out and say anything.
Oh.
So that's what was happening. These people's family weren't getting calls from loved ones. They were getting voice-morphed calls. Such outrageous X-Files shit.
And these people were given the right answers?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
You would think something would be up like...
And when I said to the guy, I said, is it possible that it's just people that hate us and wanted to kill it? And he goes, no, that is impossible. Oh, that's impossible, but your fucking wacky contraption
You know what else?
Of a plan.
You know what else was impossible? Him to feel like he was going to amount to anything in the eyes of his parents.
Exactly.
And now all of a sudden he's doing something, and they probably try to fake like they're proud of him. Like, oh no, you're still doing that. That's good.
I think he comes over the house.
Yes.
And like it's always about this.
He argues with his dad all the time.
Yeah.
His father's just like, ugh, what are you, such a douche? How did I raise you?
Looks at dad. His dad's probably a veteran and everything, and he's sitting in the chair, and I don't know, what would he say to him? Like something stupid about the buildings.
You know, Dad, it's people like you are narrow-minded.
Staring creepily at his father.
Yes,
Stop with
the way he stares, he has a hand on his hip and he points with one finger. An ass.
Mike in Jersey, what's up, Mike?
That's it, youngster.
Let's go, Mike.
Hello.
Let's go,
What's up,
man.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey.
Hey, just wanted to say, since I've been listening, I got my XM for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yesterday was two of the funniest segments I've heard. Between Norton's call and Steve from Yellowstone, I was going to grab a salad for lunch, and I ended up hearing Steve from Yellowstone, and I'm there with the headphones on, and I'm starting to cringe. And the minute I heard Ramon, I burst out into laughter where tears are streaming down my face.
Oh,
thank you.
The calls, I heard the replay.
Yeah.
Too goddamn funny. Pounded. The AIDS, my favorite, I hope you get AIDS from your sippy cup.
But there's one point I want to make. Did anybody ever dawn on these guys that the Pentagon is a fortress?
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing is, a plane flies into it at 500 miles an hour. The Pentagon is the symbol of our defense. It's a fortress. It's got miles and miles of stuff underneath it. Anything that's going to crash into that or attack it, it's not going to fall down. So for that little part to be destroyed and the plane be incinerated, it kind of makes sense.
And the beauty is, like, the one thing they said was Rumsfeld was safely on the other side of the building in his office. Like that was the government was going to do this, and Rumsfeld was in on it, and Rumsfeld said, all right, I'll be in the building, but just make sure I'm on the other side.
Yeah, right.
Just make sure I'm not on that side when you do it.
I think they could come up with a better excuse.
Yeah,
why
could
he
they
had
have
to be in China or something.
Exactly. Couldn't Rumsfeld have been somewhere?
Right.
Perhaps in Nantucket shopping. I was looking for Scrimshaw. Didn't really sound like Rumsfeld, but you got the point.
Not really.
I was doing impersonations. That sounded more like Carson.
Did a good Carson.
Yes, I certainly did.
When did the movie JFK come out?
I don't know, but don't ask for that high-pitched fucking trailing voice again.
Yeah.
When did the movie JFK come out?
It's like Jimmy acting.
Bye, Mikey.
Hey, I'm Mr. X, Bubba Truth on your side.
He was feeling really good and figured he'd have a conversation.
That's right. Beat it, stupid. You're not solving anything.
Scott in New York, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, man.
I wouldn't say I necessarily agree with that psychopath from yesterday.
Yeah.
But I have a question. I went down there. I work down here. And I was down there on the pile. I'm a volunteer firefighter. But I have a question. If like one World Trade came down, two World Trade, 5 and 7, but like the Millennium Building was fine, 140 West Street was fine, and like I'm not saying. I mean, I think that kid's a psychopath.
Yeah, dude, you know what it is? A lot of people can't accept the fact that things are like random, you know, chaos theory. Things like that. Why does a tornado like wipe out the house, one house, and then the house next door doesn't even have a scratch on it?
Yeah,
things like that.
There's
no test that was ever run on slamming two planes into two giant buildings. So one building falls, the other one doesn't. You know?
Yeah.
It happened that way.
But it's
just gotta
just
accept
World
it.
Trade Center buildings falling.
And dude, let me tell you something. If the government was really doing it, that should be an indicator to you that it was not. They're not. If they're smart enough to pull that off, do you really think they'd blow everything around it up and then not the Millennium Building?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, it was pretty crazy being down there, but it's just...
By it not making sense, sir, that is what makes perfect sense. Do you understand that part of... Like, that's what the conspiracy guy doesn't understand. Well, there's this little thing, and that's how things happen in life. It's very random.
Yeah,
Shit
I know. You
happens like that.
Anything, but...
Two planes hit two buildings. They fall down. They're going to smash one. The other one's not going to be touched. Things happen.
And what's his name?
The pedestrian bridge didn't go down. Holy shit. What a surprise that was.
Is that still up, or they didn't replace that, did they?
No,
it's still the
I mean,
original.
that thing, I was surprised as hell to see that thing was still standing after the whole thing.
What are you talking about, that glass atrium?
Yeah, it's like the sheet metal and windows.
Across the West Side Highway.
It's the pedestrian walk.
Yeah, right, I know what you're talking
about. It's dented. It's got some holes in it, but it's still there.
And then
the buildings was right connected to the fucking building.
Did they knock down that other building yet? That's just been sitting there. That basically a huge piece of it has been carved out.
They're working on it. They actually found some more remains on the roof the other day.
The other day?
Yeah, just the other day. They found some bones.
That was
on the
news
roof
there. I saw that.
They're, send off to identify. They'll be finding shit for years. Every time they move some piece of a building, there's remains.
All right, Scott.
All right, guys, you guys suck. Love you. Bye-bye.
Those must have been the people, that got off the plane.
I was down there within the first week or two, and that one building, to see the whole front of it just gone.
It looked like Godzilla took his claw and went and just scratched it and left, because you saw the floors in there. And
it was like 30, 40 stories up.
Yeah.
And there was, the fire department and the NYPD just with huge brooms just sweeping entire offices out.
Yeah.
Because the wall was gone. Yeah. And you just see desks and computer equipment and chairs just falling into a huge pile, because they were just, cleaning it up or whatever.
Wasn't there a giant piece of, because, the towers have this great, very distinctive, you'll be able to phrase it better than I will. Remember, you see the picture after it fell?
Oh, yeah. Well, the metal facade.
Right, yeah, facade. Thank you.
Yeah.
A piece of that fell into the building, like a tomahawk almost.
Yeah, and it was it left a big crease and was stuck right in the side of it.
It was like a piece of snow with I don't give very good examples. It was like a piece of snow with an icicle sticking. I give the worst examples. No, it wasn't. It was like Fluffernutter, but yet in a different state. What an ass I am. Can I fucking enunciate or paint a picture? And you paint these amazing pictures. You really are fucking
Jimmy.
Fucking Davey description, and I have no ability.
Hate you for it.
Believe me, and that tight sweater is making me sick to my stomach.
I knew it would. The second I put this on this morning, I go, this is trouble.
It's like a child's medium. Travis couldn't fit in that.
I knew this was going to be trouble right when I put it on. I opened my closet door and went, oh boy, this is going to be trouble.
And that takes some of the attention away from me, because I wasn't able to shower today.
Yeah, but no one would know that. You don't smell. I mean, no one would know that till
the hair doesn't look too greasy or anything?
Pattern of an apple pie on it, too.
No, I kind of like that.
Nice little crisscross look.
It's adorable.
Isn't it nice? Beautiful.
All right, listen, why don't we take a break? We're done with the 9/11 stuff for now.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun yesterday on so many levels.